Well, I think that uh, a tariff fight among partners like we are, EU and US, would be very negative. And I would say very negative economically, affecting trade. We have 1.6 trillion of trade in goods and services between US and the EU. So handle with care this enormous amount of trade. Negative for the risk of inflation. If you have higher tariffs, you can re-trigger inflation. And first of all, negative in political terms, because we still are in a competition between democracies and different regimes, and EU and US should stand in the same side.
We've already heard a lot of bluster from Trump if he is to become the future president again, and there was a playbook from last time round. Would Trump be seen as a negative if he followed through with some of these trade tariffs against Europe?
Well, of course, we had a very positive experience with the Biden administration. Biden re-entered the US in the Paris Agreement. Biden was very strongly supportive of the multilateral framework. And at the same time, he demonstrated that he was able to defend the economic interest of the US. Of course, this was good for the EU, but the EU by definition should work with all American presidents, hoping that we are able to keep this multilateral framework, because the multilateral framework is something absolutely necessary if we want to win our competition with non-democracies, which is at the end our main topic.
How disappointed are you then by China's reaction to what was really a correction of market distortions around EVs? I mean, we've already seen retaliation around European brandy. The IMF is pointing out 75% of the cases in trade issues you see retaliation. So you're disappointed with the Chinese reaction?
Well, the Chinese position is frequently denying the problem in itself. Is there a case of overproduction? Is there a case of excessive subsidies from the Chinese authorities? Normally, in our meetings, the answer is no. But so we led, as it's our legal system, our investigation. We confirmed that these things are happening, and we reacted as we should. Please note the fact that from the EU point of view, in the last 3 or 4 years, we changed a little bit our approach towards trade with China. It has been for a long time perhaps a little bit too more optimistic, our approach. Now it is an approach that doesn't want to close trade, but want to ensure us economic security.
Let me round out by asking you about the China stimulus we've seen in recent weeks. The steady spiral lower has been a massive feature that has been undermining one arm of the growth story internationally. Now that China has made a commitment to try and step in, shore up its problems on local government debt, on the property market, do you think that makes a difference to European growth from here?
Well, I don't see an enormous difference. What I'm seeing is that especially for some European countries, the level of trade is absolutely crucial for growth. And from this point of view, economic difficulties in China bring some difficulty also for Europe. But again, this is not for the European Union as a whole, as a bloc. It is particularly for some countries, the difficulties. And overall, I don't see this as a main problem for our economy. Main problem is how we can keep going in our path, but without having a too moderate growth. Not easy.
How worried are you about German growth? This is the powerhouse of Europe, second year of recession we're setting up for. Are you worried about fading growth in Germany?
Yes, I'm worried. What is worrying is not only the figures, is the fact that inflation is going down. As you know, in September it was 1.7 at EU level, at euro area level, and 2 years ago it was double digit. So inflation is really declining. Then we'll see next month, but the decline is there. At the same time, wages are growing, especially in Germany, but the uncertainty brings a sharp increase in the level of savings, and so is not yet, at least not yet, bringing to increase of consumptions and so restarting growth. For this reason, the IMF changed a little bit the economic forecast for next year. For this year, they are perfectly in line with our spring forecast. For next year, they have 0 to lower growth, but this is due to the fact that what we were estimating, so the restart of consumption, especially in Germany, is a little bit late. And this is what is worrying me.